Hello, and welcome to this WPCloudDeploy Momentum walkthrough. Before we dive into the walkthrough, I'd like to give you a high-level overview of what WPCloudDeploy Momentum is all about. The best way to describe WPCloudDeploy Momentum is to showcase two scenarios. Scenario number one is a typical WordPress SaaS. With a typical WordPress SaaS, you have a template site, and each of your customer sites is an exact replica of the template. With Momentum, you have a template site, but each customer site is unique, even though the same template is used for all of the sites. The reason they're unique is because we're using generative AI to create unique text and images for each site that you deploy to a customer. So imagine a scenario where you're basically building a single template site, yet every site that's cloned from it is unique. That's the fundamental power behind WPCloudDeploy Momentum. We combine this with our existing SaaS builder features, and you end up with an extremely powerful prototyping and SaaS deployment infrastructure to deploy niche sites. Customers who purchase site subscriptions will each get a unique site. There will be no duplicates between your customer sites. So here's an image that depicts what's happening. You have your template site. You'll notice that there are these things with curly brackets in them. These are tokens. This is where the generative AI text will be replaced. And each site that's generated ends up being unique with unique text and images. But what if you're not selling site subscriptions? What can WPCloudDeploy Momentum do for you? As an agency, you'll be able to use it for rapid prototyping. You create your template sites, and then when a customer comes to you and say, hey, I want a site for XYZ, you'll quickly be able to deploy a unique site for them so that they can play with it and have some idea as to what it is you can do for them. And you can probably do that in under an hour. So how is this different from other AI generative site builders? The key here is the template site. The template site incorporates your experience, your knowledge, your personality, your skills, and your styles. Generative AI is used to create the text and image elements that layer on top of that. Compare that to other site builders that generate cookie-cutter sites that do not really reflect your expertise in a niche or your style or your design ability. With WPCloudDeploy Momentum, each site is going to be uniquely yours. So the more effort you put into crafting these templates and the template prompts, the more powerful and unique your customer sites will end up being. So instead of using AI to replace yourself, you actually use it to augment your skills. For faster prototyping, creating unique customer sites, and over time, you'll be able to add more and more generative AI elements onto the template. Effectively, generative AI is assisting you with the more boring aspects of your business. Creating relevant placeholder images, short form and long form text, and so on. It just helps you do all that faster. So we build Momentum on top of WPCloudDeploy. You have the WPCloudDeploy control plane. You've got WPCloudDeploy servers. You've got WPCloudDeploy template sites. And then you build customer sites with generative AI to replace the text and images on those sites. WPCloudDeploy Momentum is not software. It's a productized service that builds on WPCloudDeploy software. This means that we craft each cluster just for you, starting with a baseline configuration. We deploy and configure the control plane servers, the customer servers, the template servers, template sites, integrate with providers such as Stripe and Cloudflare, set up your customer store, set up your customer products, craft the prompts, and provide training, documentation, and customization. For every instance that we deploy, we're spending at least a week crafting that instance for you. If you have customization requests, then of course that might take a little longer. But even the baseline instance ends up taking a week of our time. So what we'll do now is we'll move on to showing you what a typical deployment will look like. So here we are. This is a typical marketing site for a Momentum cluster. You have a pricing page with various plans on them. Obviously, you have a home page. You have a services page. You have an account area where people can go to accounts, submit support tickets, log in, log out, do all that basic stuff. But really, the key element here is this pricing page, because this is the page from which customers are going to start to make their purchase and engage with their custom Momentum site. So I'm going to go ahead and click this Getting Started button right here under the Starter Plan. As you can see, we have a number of industries that the user can choose from. I'm going to choose the interior design. And I've got a couple of templates I can choose here, so I'm just going to choose the first one. At this point, we're in the checkout process. If you've used WPCloudDeploy with WooCommerce in the past, you probably recognize this flow at this point. So I'm just going to call this Test Momentum 20. I'm already logged in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and click Sign Up Now. And at this point, you've got a prompt here that says, hey, let's complete your onboarding form now. So let's go ahead and do that. And click into that. I'm going to click Next. I'm going to give my company a name. Click Next. A couple of email addresses here. These email addresses are going to show up on the site. I'm just making these entries very short. Normally, as a customer, you'll probably end up writing a whole lot more about your company so that the AI engine has a lot more to work with. But even with just a couple of sentences, you'll see how you can get very unique text coming out of the AI engine. I don't have a current domain, so I'm going to skip that. I'm not going to upload a logo here yet. Just want to get through this process so that we can show you what happens. I'm going to choose a color palette. I'm going to choose one where the accent text is this pink button right over here. So that's number 5. Just so we don't get the default of blue. I'm going to skip these services and the projects and the testimonials. Put something in these. I mean, obviously these are not really URLs, so. Let's say we're 15 years in business, we've completed 1,500 projects, I've got 5 staff members and maybe 2,500 customers and maybe 25 partners. Let's say the company was started in 1999 and the founder was, let's say, Jane Smith. Next. At this point, before we do anything else, let's take a look and see if the site's up and running, and you can see what the site looks like right now. So I'm going to click into my sites over here. Doesn't look like it's ready yet. Let's refresh the page, see if it's ready. There it is. So let's take a look at the site. And I want you to take a look and see what the site looks like right now. You'll see that it's dark, right? It's not light. We haven't applied our colors yet. We haven't applied any of the AI text. You can see where those text elements will be placed. Run through another page over here. Look at this page. Everything with the curly brackets is where we're going to be replacing text with generative text. Okay, so let's go ahead and submit our form. Here's the data we'll be sending over. And we'll click submit. At this point, we'll wait a few minutes for the text and images to be generated. We'll get an email that says the site's ready. Once I get that, I'll resume the video. Okay, so I believe the site's ready. I haven't received the email yet, but enough time has passed, so I'm going to go ahead and try to refresh the site. Let's click the home page. There you go. You can see that we've got text. We've got a different color scheme. Remember, we chose that color scheme with the light background and the pink highlights. So that's what we've got. The text has been replaced, and some of the images have been replaced. Let's take a look at our About page. And our Portfolio page. And some of our other pages, like the services pages. And our contact page, all that data we filled out, phone numbers, email, location, we've automatically inserted based on where those tokens were located. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening on the back end of this site. So I'm going to log into WP Admin. And let's take a look at our to-do list. You can see that we've got a list of things that the customer should do to complete the site. This is obviously customizable when we set up the Momentum infrastructure for you. But let's take a look at the AI prompts. Let's take a look at the popular questions prompt. And you can see this was our prompt. And this was the result. If you look at the site itself, you can see that this text was replaced right here. I believe that's the text, right? Frequently asked questions about, yes. And if we look at another prompt, the description prompt, this was the prompt, the template prompt. This was what was actually sent to OpenAI. And this is what came back. And that's what we stuck right there. So if you look at the template site itself, I'm going to navigate to the template site. You can see on the FAQ page, we had some tokens. And these prompts and the output from OpenAI replace those tokens. One of the things you can do after we deliver Momentum to you is you can create your own prompts, and then you can place them anywhere on your template sites. So if I wanted to create a prompt for, say, subheading, I'll just give, test subheading. I'm going to grab a prompt. Oops, not that one. Let's grab one of these prompts and copy it right in there. And I'm going to save this. What I can do is I can take this data right here and place it anywhere on my template site. So you can create and craft your own prompts as well as tweak the ones that we provide for you. One of the things that we'll do as far as setting up Momentum is to create a baseline set of prompts to make sure you get a decent set of images and text coming back from OpenAI. Let's take a look at the image prompts. The image prompts are probably the ones that are the trickiest, because if you don't get really, really detailed about what it is you're looking for, you're going to get some very funky images. So you'll notice in these prompts we're specifying that I want a chair, what color it is, that it's minimalistic, it's 3D rendered, and so on and so on and so on. If I didn't specify all of these things, then I would normally just get some very smudgy looking image. So at this point, you've got a pretty good idea as to how WP Cloud Deploy Momentum works, right? You create a template site, you create tokens. These tokens are linked to either the form we submit or they're linked to AI prompts. The results of those prompts are injected into the template site to create your customer sites. So each customer site will end up being unique. The more creative you can get with a prompt and the more specific you can get with your prompts, the better your sites, or the better your customer sites will be. And we built all this on top of WP Cloud Deploy itself, the control plane, the servers, your standard template sites, and then we inject generative AI into the whole thing so that you can end up with unique customer sites every time you run the process. And that's it basically. That's what WP Cloud Deploy Momentum is all about. If you have questions, obviously just shoot us an email or contact form on our site or open up a ticket if you're already a customer. And at some point, we hope to hear from you.